Welcome to day 3 of the E.A.T workshop. So day 1, we talked about energy, and how to energize your body to get more energy, to feel more eager. The second day we talked about abide, how to endure without yielding, so without giving up. Today we're going to talk about transform. Transform is to make a thorough or dramatic change. So how do we do that? You know what? We make more than 200 food-related decisions a day. That's a lot of food choices. So how do we come up against all those food decisions and be able to persevere and not fall off the wagon, not fall off track, not to lose momentum, not to lose focus? So here's something. We associate food with certain routines and traditions and thoughts and feelings. So think about, what do you associate with movies? Typically it's popcorn, pumpkin pie with whipped cream, cake with ice cream. Some people, it's dinner and dessert. So let's think about a puppy. When you have a brand new puppy and you bring out the leash, the puppy has no idea what the leash is for. But after a couple of weeks, that puppy knows that that leash means they're going to go for a walk. So they associate the leash as something fun. So the leash becomes the trigger, and then the learned response is, when you rattle the leash, I get to go outside and have some fun. So some of our triggers would be, I've had dinner, and the learned response is, it's time for dessert. I'm going to the movies. The learned response is, let's have popcorn. I'm having pumpkin pie. Let's have whipped cream. So you see there's the trigger and then the learned response. Triggers can be objects, situations, and feelings. So think about a kid who comes home from school and they're upset, and mom wants to soothe the child, and she says, oh honey, come and have a cookie, sit down and talk to me. So now the child is going to associate those negative feelings to having a cookie. That warm feeling that she's looking for is going to be associated with a cookie. So then as that child grows up and becomes an adult, if she's worried and anxious about something, that's going to be a trigger for her to want to go eat something to bring her that warm, comforting feeling of dealing with whatever's going on. If you are someone who was used to having dessert after dinner, and maybe as a kid, if you misbehaved, then you didn't get to have dessert. So then as an adult, not having dessert becomes a punishment. And so you don't want to live with that punishment. So maybe you've been diagnosed with diabetes, and so the dessert isn't a good choice for your diabetes. And so then now you're feeling like you're being punished. And even if you decide to go on a restrictive diet and I'm not going to eat any junk food, no sugar, then automatically now you're feeling punished because it is a trigger for what happened years ago. So how do we fix that? We unlearn those things. It is possible to unlearn it. So that puppy who has learned the jangling of the leash means, oh, I get to go outside and have fun. Well, if you keep jingling the leash and then not taking them outside, sooner or later, that puppy's going to go, oh, okay, that leash doesn't mean that anymore. And we can do the same thing with our triggers. We can break the link between the trigger and the learned response. It does require work. It does require commitment, but it is possible to change that. So when you say, I can't stop eating, that's not true. You can stop eating. You have a choice. to stop that cycle. You can make the choice. Or here, the one, you need to eat all the food on your plate because there's starving children in third world countries. Well, then you feel like now as an adult, you have to eat everything and you're afraid to throw anything out. Well, and you eat whether you're still hungry or not. Like you could be stuffed, but there's still a few bites of food left on your plate. You don't want to throw it out, so you eat it. And that is another trigger and learned behavior. So we need to start breaking those behaviors. A really effective way to do that is by journaling. And journaling about what your triggers are and what alternative responses you can use, and start practicing those. This is something we go into more in depth in my Abide program, 90 Days to Unstoppable. You learn the techniques of how to journal and how to dig deeper and how to get rid of those triggers. So, I mean, by all means, you can do it on your own, but if you're looking for support, that's what we do in the Abide program. And it's been really helpful for the girls who have gone through the first 90 days. So next is ask yourself, is this stomach hunger, mouth hunger, or heart hunger? If it's stomach hunger, that's physical hunger, like you are actually hungry. Mouth hunger is the craving or pleasure of food. So, you feel like something crunchy, or you feel like something comforting, comfort foods like a stew, or I don't know. You know what I mean. Sometimes you stand in the cupboard or the fridge and you're like, I want something. And you'll look at one thing and you're like, no, it's something crunchy I want. So that is a mouth hunger. And then there's heart hunger, and that's when it's your emotions or the learned behaviors. So the one like, I've had dinner, now I need dessert, that is a heart hunger. So before you eat, ask yourself, is this stomach hunger, mouth hunger, or heart hunger? And a really cool idea is to keep a simple log. So every time you go to eat something, you write down what you ate and whether it was stomach, mouth, or heart hunger. And then over a few days, you're going to start to notice some patterns, maybe some certain times of the day where you have certain heart hungers, different foods that you're eating. You'll start to see some patterns. Another technique is HALT. So HALT, or actually HALTs, because there's an extra one. So am I hungry? Am I angry or anxious? Am I lonely? Am I tired? Am I sad? So if you're feeling any of those emotions, ask yourself, which of these emotions am I feeling? If you're hungry, then by all means eat. But take that step back and ask yourself, what kind of hunger is this? Do the stop. Step back. Think about the situation. Observe the truth about the situation. So, okay, I'm going to step back. Think about it. Why am I wanting this food? What's going on? Okay, it's an emotion. I'm feeling lonely. Okay, so observe the truth about it. Is this food actually going to take away the loneliness? Not likely. And then the P of stop is to pray and or pause. So give yourself some time. That's a really good time to journal or to pray. So if it's heart hunger, list out all the emotions that you're feeling. And I talked about this a little bit yesterday, but list out all those emotions that you're feeling if it's actually heart hunger. Now you could do an experiment over a few days, and don't change anything other than write down all those emotions and then go eat the food that you wanted to eat. 5 minutes after you're done eating, list the emotions that you're feeling now. And then another 20 to 30 minutes later, write down all the feelings that you're feeling at that point. Try it for a week and start noticing, did that food take the emotion away or did it create more emotions? So maybe you're feeling lonely, and then after you eat the food, now you're still lonely, but now you're feeling guilty. And so instead of making it you feel better, it's actually compounded your emotions. Remember that you have a choice. Being aware of your thoughts and feelings gives you the opportunity to make changes. So if you just push those feelings down and you ignore them, you're not going to make changes. But when you can actually start to deal with those feelings, those thoughts, now is when you can start to make the changes. And when you figure that all out, that's what's going to be lasting. That's what's going to cause the transformation, the total mind, body, and soul transformation. So let's look at some alternatives, okay? You have choices. So instead of eating, what else can you do? First off, you can nurture yourself. Sometimes your body's just crying for self-care. Secondly, think about the 80-20 rule. You don't have to say no all the time. 80% of the time, if you're eating healthy, and then 20% of the time you allow these other things, then you're still going to lose weight. So does it fit in the 80-20 rule? Get rid of the trigger. Oh, excuse me. My nose is itchy. I'm sitting near some plants. Get rid of the trigger thinking. So start recognizing this is a trigger, like the dessert one, right? That's a trigger. So what is that trigger? Start recognizing those trigger thinking, those trigger thoughts, and start changing that. Get rid of those thoughts. Distract yourself. See if there's something else you can do to keep your mind off of eating that whole bag of chips. Manage your stress, because when you're stressed out, you're going to be craving food, especially if that's the way that you've coped with stress in the past. So learn techniques to manage stress. Again, this is something that we go into more in depth in Abide 90 Days to Unstoppable. It is really, really helpful to learn to manage your stress. You can't take it away all the time. You can't get rid of it, but if you can learn to manage it, that's going to be really powerful for you. And then journaling, another thing that we do in Abide. We do a lot of journaling. I require this from my clients to do this every day, because the women who are willing to do the journaling are having the most success. So it's now become a requirement of the program. If you're going to do the program, you have to be willing to commit to journaling 10-15 minutes every single day. You could always wait. So you have that craving, wait. Give it 15-20 minutes and see what happens. See if that craving goes away. If you're eating a meal and you want seconds, again, wait for 20 minutes, because remember yesterday we talked about how it takes your body 20 minutes to recognize when that you've eaten, that you've been eating, and that you're satisfied. So if you feel like going for the seconds, wait 20 minutes and then see if you really want to go up for seconds. Plan activities. If you know that you're going to be eating out of boredom or loneliness, then start planning some activities that you can do for when those times come up. Because you don't have to fill that time with food. There's so many things you could do. Even if it's just we talked yesterday about doing some activities, doing some fun things, maybe picking up a hobby or a craft, or reading a book, or doing some simple exercises, or doing an online course, or chatting with somebody. See what you can do to plan some activities so that sorry, I'm just thinking, is this video recording? I just realized I just realized I think this video might be recording sideways. So if it's not, I'm going to continue. But yeah, we'll see. I may have to redo this video. Assert yourself. Don't be afraid to say no thank you. Just because somebody offers food to you doesn't mean you need to take it, and you're not going to hurt their feelings by saying no thank you. No, maybe they won't like it, but it doesn't matter. You need to learn to assert yourself and stand up for yourself and say no when you mean no. Try some problem-solving techniques. So there's many techniques to work through the problem solving. We don't have time to get into it today, but again, that's something that we work on in the Abide program. Change your environment. So make that environment craving proof. If you know that you struggle with cravings, then don't keep that food in your house. If you know in a weak moment you're going to go eat that cake, then don't keep the cake in your house. Quench your thirst. It could be that craving that you're having is actually because you're dehydrated. So make sure you keep your body hydrated as much as possible. And quit sabotaging your efforts. That is the biggest problem. It's like you get to a certain point and then your critter brain takes over, and it's like, I don't like this change. And your brain is going to start to make you go back to your old habits, and you're going to start to sabotage. Again, we spend an entire week on self-sabotage in the Abide program because it's such an important part. And it usually happens around anywhere between week 3 and week 5, week 6. Positive self-talk. Start changing those negative thoughts into positive thoughts. The negative things you say to yourself, find an alternative positive thing that you can say to yourself. It becomes very powerful, and you start to feel more confident, you start to feel more empowered, and you feel stronger and more capable and more able to make better choices. Expect backsliding. Like, it's going to happen. You're going to have days, you're going to have moments and possibly days where you backslide and you just eat the junk food and you don't really care. Expect that and don't beat yourself up over it. What's going to happen, and this is what my clients are finding, that each time that happens, it's less and less time for them to get back on track. And so now, like in the beginning, they would kind of hide for quite a few days. And now they've learned, okay, I'm going to reach out to the group. I'm going to reach out to the girls and say, I'm having a hard day today. And we all support each other through it. And the sabotage isn't happening like it was in the beginning. Be patient with yourself, one step at a time. We don't want to make huge steps. You want to take one step at a time and work towards it, towards your goal, a little bit at a time. Small steps, small hinges swing big doors. Celebrate your victories. Celebrate even the tiny little victories. Celebrate, and don't reward yourself with food, but celebrate those milestones. We're not looking at perfection. We are just looking at continued progress. You don't have to do it perfectly. There's no quick fix. If you're going to do it right, if you are going to lose weight for the last time, then it's going to be a slow and steady process. Because, you can lose the weight quickly, but it's going to come back on because you didn't deal with this and you didn't deal with this. You dealt with the body, but you didn't deal with the mind and the soul. And the total transformation is dealing with all three. Learn from your mistakes and continue to set small goals. I hope this has been helpful for you guys this week. I appreciate you being patient with me in the crazy times, and one day was live, the other 2 days aren't. It's been quite a week for me watching the grandkids as my daughter has had her third child, and then yesterday I had to go and watch my other grandson, and so things came up this week that I wasn't expecting, but I wanted to still be able to show up for you guys and be able to bring this information to you. So that's all I have for you. Thank you again for joining me. If you have questions, please put them in the comments and I will answer them as I'm able to get to them. And if you are interested in the Abide 90 Days to Unstoppable, please reach out to me or let me know in the comments. And I will also give you a link. So it's kimkennycoaching.com/energizeabidetransform. And it'll give you all the programs that are available there. The next Abide starts on Monday, February 1st. So if you want to get in on Monday. Otherwise, the next one won't start again probably until March, when I can have at least 3 people. I like to have at least 3 people in a group. Right now we have 7 in our group, and it's a really nice, beautiful group. So, up to you. But if this is something that you're interested in, if you want to be able to lose weight for the last time and learn all of the techniques, learning the body, mind, and soul, and being able to have the total transformation, you'll be able to get that in Abide. Collectively, as a group, over the last year and a half, here in Ditch the Diet, we have lost over 550 pounds. And I think the last I counted was well over 300 inches. Not everybody submits their inches, so I know it's over that. Who knows how much it is exactly. So well over 300 inches lost and 550 pounds plus. So I'm telling you, if you're willing to do the work and if you're willing to work the program will work for you. So again, thank you for being with me. Thank you for your patience. Ask away any questions that you have. And if you want to chat with me some more, please reach out either in the comments or send me a private message. God bless.